In the late 1980s, many of us must be remembering that Ramayana and later on Mahabharata, they became very popular TV serials, and every Sunday in the morning, the whole India would be glued to their televisions, and there would be no movement outside. At a personal level, I remember in such morning in November 1987, when I went to Jalandhar in Punjab for my own engagement, I found that the time for Ardas was clashing with the Ramayana serial. And I went to my late father-in-law, requested him that I would like to first watch Ramayana serial and then let the Ardas take place. He not only happily agreed but also joined me in seeing that episode. So what I want to convey is that the same kind of frenzy actually we find around the IPL matches in India. IPL, which stands for Indian Premier League of Cricket, started its journey in 2007, and the whole environment built around us is now almost similar to what we used to see around Ramayana and Mahabharata serials. Cricket, which is a very important sport in India, actually originated in England many years ago, and the first test match took place between England and Australia in 1877. And we all remember that 5-day test matches used to be the norm of cricket. It was known as a gentleman's game. You know, everybody would be in white dress, and there would be this red ball with which they would play. But it was in 1997 that Kerry Packer, who was a media mogul of Australia, he had some tiff with the Australian cricket authorities, and by way of a revolution, he actually started the World Series cricket, which was nothing but 50-50 matches, which we now call one-dayers. So one-day cricket was something that Kerry Packer came out with, and those were the days when floodlit stadiums, packed by spectators and players in very colorful attires, and instead of the cherry, they would play with the white ball. So these were novelties that Kerry Packer brought in, and no wonder the purists of the cricket fraternity, they cried foul for this. And they would always say that cricket has always been a disciplined game, and this extravaganza only takes away the spirit of the game. But as it went by, in the years to follow, we find that many new things happened in cricket, and things like DRS, things like fielder being within a given area of the stadium only, the rules regarding the bouncers to be bowled by a bowler, etc. So these were the changes which slowly came into cricket, and the cricket fraternity welcomed each time any such change came. In India, in 2007, for the first time, the IPL took birth under the aegis of BCCI, which is the Board for Control for Cricket in India. Now, in India, before IPL, Z Group came out with ICL, which is Indian Cricket League. Again, they had a tiff with BCCI and they wanted to have their own path. But ICL was not permitted by the BCCI, and it also said that anybody joining ICL would face life ban. So therefore, ICL died in less than a year, and IPL became the reality. So we have seen IPL now since 2008, when the first edition took place. Last year, which is 2021, we had the 14th edition, and we just had the auctions for the 2022 edition. And it is because of the frenzy around those auctions that I thought maybe I'll sit with you and give you some details about how IPL works. Now, going forward, let's see how come IPL became successful in India. So there are many reasons for this. The first one, which is very obvious, is that the excitement and enthusiasm around the test cricket Actually, it had plateaued by the time IPL took birth. So, as I told you, the first test match between England and Australia took place in 1877, which means that after 110 years, Kerry Packer fired the first salvo, and in 2007, which is again say another, if I could say 20 years from that, the IPL came into existence. So that the enthusiasm around 5-day cricket was not much there, and it was being felt that cricket needs a new format. It needs lesser duration of game, and it should be result oriented. So the first reason was that enthusiasm was actually declining. The other reason was that the time chosen for the IPL matches, as we all know, the matches are held between March and May every year. Now this period actually suited each participating country. So therefore many players from outside also showed a lot of enthusiasm. Again, the matches are telecast at 8 p.m. in the evening, which is a very convenient time for the viewers in India. And as we all know, 70% of global viewership of cricket matches is commanded by India. So therefore, audience was never a problem. The organizers of IPL only wanted to come out with a very, very exciting format. Now let's look at how IPL makes money. So what happens is there used to be 8 franchises a few days back. Now there are 2 more, Lucknow and Ahmedabad. So they give their franchise fees. In addition, BCCI sells the broadcasting rights. As we all know, for the first 10 years, the broadcasters were Sony India, and now Star India has taken it for 5 years. And you would be surprised to know that the fees paid by Star India is 16,348 crore. And it's a big money. So in addition to broadcasting revenue, the gate money, the franchise money, the merchandise. So what is happening is the BCCI actually retains 40% of the broadcasting revenue and distributes 60% into various franchises. So they get a lot of money every year. In addition, the franchises, they are entitled to a part of the gate money when the matches take place. The rest is kept by the local stadiums, etc. They also have merchandise attached to their own franchises. So they sell souvenirs, jerseys, various other items. And in addition to that, every local venue would have local sponsors. So some additional money also comes from there. So net, if I could say so, BCCI makes about 5,000 crores a year out of IPL venture. And these franchises also make around 300 crores each year. Even if you leave aside and I'm saying average. So the biggies like the Mumbai Indians and CSK, they make much more money, but on an average they make about 300 crore plus every year. And keeping in mind that they spend around 140 to 150 crores, there is still much left for them as profit, because from 2018 the annual franchise fees is not being charged. So this is how the revenue works for IPL. Now why players prefer it? Players prefer it because with so many teams being there, all good players, first class level players, they get an opportunity to participate. Number 2, they get huge money. We have just seen more than 11 players have been sold in the last auction for 10 crore plus. So that speaks about the money that is flowing. More than that, the diversity of the tournament gives youngsters share rooms with legends of cricket. So just imagine, some new Indian player, just 19 years of age, sharing his dressing room with, say, the Virat Kohlis or the Bumrahs of the world. So the kind of exposure they get. The international exposure also is very, very immense. So as we all know, every team can have maximum 8 international players, and every playing 11 can have 4 international players. So there is a lot of diversity in each team, and because of this international exposure, the standard of the game also gets benefited. Now, in addition to this, let me share how India has benefited out of IPL. So if I say how it has benefited, India has been able to have not only IPL for cricket, but in the last 6-7 years, we have leagues for TT, badminton, wrestling, kabaddi, volleyball, of course, hockey. The league started in 2005, much before the IPL, but for some reasons, it got disbanded in 2008. Other than that, we find that India's performance in one-dayers and test matches has increased tremendously. If I give you statistics, if I take a period 10 years before and 10 years after, in case of test matches, our success rate has improved from 32% to 51%. And our success rate in case of ODIs, the one-day internationals, has increased from 48% to 62%. In addition, I think what is the most elevating factor is that in our recent Olympic participation, India came out with the best performance ever in Olympic participation, and the crowning glory was the gold medal won by Neeraj Chopra in the track and field arena. So I think because of the IPL, there is a lot of traction happening in the sports arena, and it augurs very well for our planning going forward. I would be missing out on something if I don't share a couple of interesting events attached to IPL. So one that comes to my mind is that Adam Gilchrist, who is known as one of the best wicketkeeper batsmen in the world, he only bowled once in his T20 career. And the moment he took the ball, it was the first ball that he bowled, and he took the wicket of Harbhajan Singh, who has been a legendary spinner of India. So that remains a very interesting thing, that he only bowled once in his life, just one ball, and took the wicket of Harbhajan Singh. Similarly, we have players like Rohit Sharma and Shane Watson of Australia. Now, they are both known batsmen, but you would be surprised to know that both of them have not only scored a century in IPL, but they have also secured a hat-trick bowling as bowlers. So it again is a very interesting fact. And another that comes to my mind is that in a match between RCB and KKR, if I'm not wrong, this gentleman Gale from West Indies, who is a super hitter, he scored a century playing for KKR, and from the opposition party, S. Arvind, who was the bowler from RCB, he actually took 4 wickets. Where lies the interest is that exactly 4 years from there, the first incident took place on 6th of May 2011, and on 6th of May 2015, the same teams are playing against each other. Chris Gale again hits a century, and S. Arvind again takes 4 wickets. So this whole journey of IPL is full of excitement, extravaganza, cheerleaders, big parties, and at the same time new milestones being set. And if I'll be failing in expressing it properly if I fail to mention that it was because of IPL that the sporting culture of India has got a huge facelift, and I'm very sure going forward this frenzy, this enthusiasm, and this momentum is going to make India a super sporting power. I'll keep coming with such interesting topics in future also. The idea would always be to update on what all is happening all around us, so that you always remain informed about these important events. Please take care of yourself. Namaskar.